Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video. And at the end of this week, we not only get the release of OP06, but also the new star deck Zoro and Sanji, which is a pretty interesting one. I'm not sure how viable it is overall, but it does have a good amount of cards that we do want to pick up from it, and I'm really looking forward to it. So we're going to go over the kind of good cards from the star deck itself, and then we're going to have an example deck list at the end. I think the cards that exist are better in other leaders, but I did want to just have like an example deck list if anyone really wanted to make a Zoro and Sanji list, but results may vary for it. So we're going to go on into it with the kind of the leader itself, which is pretty unique. It's a dual character leader. It has also dual attributes, which are generally a bad side, I think, for right now, but it could be a benefit later down the road. It has this Dawn ×1 when attacking once per turn. You may return one of your cost 2 or higher characters to its owner's hand, set up to one of your power 7,000 or less characters as active. So being able to essentially give something dual attack is pretty nice and use that ability. So I think that's something that's pretty good for the leader. It does depend on you having the card out for a turn. And also it means that you can't, like blue and green only have like one rush card, which is Rush Usopp. So at this point, meaning that you can't like do the combo where you play it and then you attack and go for it. But it's a really interesting effect, and it can like get you one more attack. But the fact that it has to be power 7,000 or less, and it's not like the printed power. So if you give like a 5k power attack for Dawn and make it 9,000 power for the turn, you won't be able to reset it. So you'd have to do something weird where you give it to Dawn, attack 7,000, then reset it, and then attack another 2 Dawn to it. So it's probably good that it looks at the power level for the card that it resets, but sometimes it can kind of work. It can be kind of clunky, I guess. But other than that, and it's obviously a 4 life leader since it is a dual color. So there we go. The super rares. The card that you probably know the most is the Dracula Mihawk. It is a 2k counter, but also has this on play. If you have 2 or less characters, play up to 1 4 cost or lower Seguro Kingdom type or slash type character card other than Mihawk from your hand rested. So this is the good ability for it. So you can use this. You can use the effect to bounce or play something out. And then with the leader effect, you can put one of those cards back into your hand, either the Mihawk or the card you played, meaning that you're able to do some cool stuff. You can also obviously use the Mihawk effect to play a card, and then you can then attack with your leader, and then just put the Mihawk back into your hand, and then restand the 4 or less that you add with Mihawk. So if that makes sense, you can do that. It just means that you can get some advantage. You can play a 4 cost and also have a 6k attack for the turn, which is neat, but I don't know if it's worth it, but there it is there. We also have Emporio here. So on play, reveal the top card of your deck, play up to 1 cost 2 character. Specifically, it's not 2 or less, it's specifically 2. Return the main cards top or bottom of your deck, and then they're just so the 1. And then when attacking once per turn, if your hand are 6 or less cards, draw a card. So unfortunately, it's once per turn because obviously this is a leader that can attack twice. But which I don't think it would have been too broken to do, but that is fine. So being able to play these 2 costs. So you're going to see that this deck kind of revolves around specifically playing out 2 costs and then being able to return them to hand with your leader effect. So essentially Emporio draws a card with more steps. So it's the same thing where you can play Emporio for 3, you play 2 costs off the top of your deck, you attack with your leader, attach a Dawn into it, and then attack, and then you're able to add that 2 cost back into your hand, and then so you drew a card, right? With, again, more steps, but the flexibility of the deck is neat. Sometimes, again, kind of clunky, but that's kind of how you work with these guys. Also, the reason Mihawk is really coveted right now is because of this quick combo. So Mihawk can play Brook, which is a 4 cost. So you can use the effect to play a 3 or less from your hand, which means you can play the Nami, which means you get to draw a card, and then you establish 3 bodies on your board and get to draw a card for 4 Dawn. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, synergy for the stack or for film in general. I don't think you'll be using it specifically for the Sanji Zoro deck. I don't think it's a great film deck right now, but there is the kind of quick super combo that a lot of people have been looking forward to for film. All right, the two of, so these are all two of character cards. We've got the Sanji, so it's a 2 cost, which means it has synergy with the deck of like the Emporio stuff. But Dawn times 1 when attacking. If you have 5 or less cards in your hand, this character gains plus 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. So you become a 5k, and then you obviously with 1 Dawn, you become 6k on attacking. And then you can return a card to hand, and like these can attack twice pretty easily while still being a 7k. And then there's the Zoro, so this is a slash attribute. So Dawn times 1 when attacking, rest up to one of your opponent's characters. Cost or 6 or lower. So it doesn't have counter. Neither of these cards have counter, which is kind of clunky, but being able to use it to attack, rest something, and then you can reset your leader and then attack into the card you rested. So that's pretty nice there too. And then we have Duval, being able to have blocker, but also on play, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, place them in the top or bottom, any order, meaning that you can set up your Emporio turn next turn, which is pretty important for it. So I think this card's fine. Blue always kind of needs, blue, one of the central things for blue is like needing to know the top card of your deck at all times. So Duval will really help you get there and just have like another consistency piece. I know like people like, oh, Dofi really appreciates this card existing too, which is nice. And just being on the 2 cost is fine. So there we go. And then the 2 of event cards, we have Parage Shot. For 1, counter give it to one of your leader characters plus 2k power for this battle, and then reveal the top card of your deck, play up to 1 cost 2 character, then place the remaining cards at the top or bottom of your deck. So a 1 cost 2k counter is already just kind of okay for curve, but then also, or like the cost for it, but then you can play a 2 cost off of it, which blue and green don't have like a lot of amazing, like specifically 2 cost cards with on plays, but we'll look into it in a bit. And then we also have Lion Song. So this is a 2 cost event. Its main R counter. You get to rest up one of your opponent's leaders. R characters or cost 4 or lower characters. So this can be pretty nasty if your opponent's not playing around it. I could see like green purple Dofi appreciating this card existing as well. Then also has the same trigger of just activating this card's main effect. So it's resting a leader can be powerful if your opponent doesn't respect the ability for it, and I think that's good. And if your opponent has a leader and a 4 cost character out, you can make sure to rest one of those depending on how they attack. So I think that's fine. And then other notable cards, we do have the Charlotte Pudding. It's another 2k. So this is just says activate main, return this character to its owner's hand. So if you do something like you use this effect to play it off Emporio or something, you can return it to the hand. It's okay. I think more times than not, you just want to. I mean, in the Zoro leader itself, you can just naturally put it back into your hand, so you don't really need to use activate main. I don't believe so, but that could be a reason for it. And then we also have Zeph. Zeph is kind of like a larger copy of the Emporio, but with the effect baked in. So on play, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, place them all at the top or bottom in any order, and then when attacking, reveal the top card of your deck. You may play up to 1 2-cost character rested, then return the remaining cards to the bottom. So you can do something where you play this on 5, and then you put some Dawn on it, attack, and then restand. Attack, play something from the top of your deck. Use the Zoro ability when attacking to return the 2 costs you played back to your hand, and then you get to reset your Zeph. So that seems pretty okay. So it seems like some good synergy for the deck and what you kind of want to do. And that's kind of what it is there. So those are kind of the cards I want to talk about specifically, and let's go to the deck lists. And here are the example deck list. First, this list right here is just the exact 50 you get from the starter deck. So if you care about that, it is here. It's also in the description if you guys want to check out the list yourselves on my deck builder. So here are the exact 50 as you get for it. And then my example build, and honestly, this is a bit of a pile of cards. I haven't been able to do a lot of testing with it, but also I just haven't found like a good build for this deck specifically, or for this leader specifically. I feel like the things that it wants to be doing, or at least some of the cards that are in the deck that you want to do stuff with, are just better in different leaders. So results may vary on this one. Don't hold me accountable if this is just a pile of cards and pretty bad, but I did want to just have something to talk about for this leader, just to show you guys some example kind of synergies for it. So the kind of idea for this though is we want to just be more on like the blue side of it, and just the playing stuff for free. So we have this Emporio that has the being able to play from 2. So we just kind of have this build. We can kind of go first or second depending on what we want. We are playing 4 copies of Perona to kind of set the top of our deck, which unfortunately is a 1 cost, which means that we're not able to return it back to our hand with our Zoro or Sanji, but I think that's fine. We are just kind of depending on being able to use these effects to, like Emporio, being able to play something from the top and then put it back into her hand with her Zoro and Sanji, I think is fine. And then being able to potentially get some additional cycle or something. So, for example, turn 2, our best play is like either like an Usopp or like a Sanji. Sanji specifically would be pretty good. And then we can like attack and then like restand it with the Zoro Sanji by returning the 2 cost back. Being able to attack Emporio twice, even if it's just to reset the card. Like you can attack with Emporio a 4K and then just reset it if we don't need it to be around anymore. We have a lot of 2K 2 drops, so we have like the Tony Chopper, we have the Elvita, which are really nice. You can play the Pudding if you want to, but since our leader already puts the cards back on top of her or back to her hand, I don't think they're needed. We also play the Sugar. So this is a on-play, rest one of your opponent's characters that costs 4 or less. So even though you don't get this opponent's turn, being able to use this card to rest something off of playing it for free off Emporio. And also, it's just kind of like one of our best like 2 cost cards that we can play and then put it right back into our hand. So we can use this to rest something, use the Zoro and Sanji's effect to, attack into it, and then put the Sugar back into our hand. So not too shabby for doing that if there's something to get rid of. Cat Viper is just like a smaller version of Sugar. That's also 2 costs to help sure we get our hits. So, I mean, we're playing a good amount of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're running just under half of our deck, I think, are 2 costs. So I think that's helpful for just helping find the cards and making sure we see the success off of it. And then our last kind of cards, the top end is running like the Impel Down package. And we could play Buggy. I'm not playing it. If you want to play it, you can instead of some copies of Perona. The only issues with Buggy is that you reset the top 5 cards of your deck, which is kind of rough. And we can't rebounce it back to our hand with our Zoro and Sanji effect. So it's kind of weird for it. But we do have like the Emporio use the effect to play an Impel Down with cost of 6 or less from her hand. So that can be Crocodile, that can be Mr. 3, and that can be Luffy. Obviously, all these are like 7K attackers, so being able to attack and then play 2 bodies out and then make it so your opponent's going to have a hard time removing them, so you can actually use your Zoro and Sanji effect. Because that's like the biggest issue with this guy is that we have so much removal in the game right now that it's going to be really tricky to play a body and then have it stick around enough to actually use our when attacking effects, right? So that's the issue with I think this deck in this current meta as it is. A couple copies of Zeph, as we said, this card can pretty much be like an Emporio that sets itself up, which is great. On play looking top 3, know what you draw next turn, know what card that you're putting into there, and then going just the synergy from there I think is great. Lastly, we do have Usopp, which is the only Rush Blue card, at least inherently for it. And heck, sometimes you need to get it done. So you play Usopp out. At 10 Dawn, you can use something like Usopp for 4. You can play Sugar for 2 to rest something. And then you can use it to bounce Sugar back into your hand. So that's currently 7 Dawn. So you can have 2 7K or 1 7K attack from Sanji, and then 2 7K attacks from Usopp. So 3 7K attacks from a closed board that rests a 4 cost blocker can get it done sometimes. Is it good? Probably not, but I did want to mention it. So there it is there. So I don't have much more to talk about. I think this is a interesting deck. I think it's a very cool combo. I don't think it's going to be super viable as it is in the current state of OP06, but with the restriction and bans that we'll get eventually, that might change the landscape for it. So that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what your builds of Zoro and Sanji look like. I'm going to catch you all next time.